It's the autumn of 2025. Russia sent out a declaration. The largest mechanized offensive of the fall has begun. The objective? To break through the Ukrainian defense line and reach two vital villages, Shakova and Vadimivka. This was no simple maneuver. It was a major gamble launched from near the town of Dolina in Donetsk. The Kremlin commanders wanted to tear through the front line like paper in just 6 hours. The Russians knew they were being watched. That's why they made a strange move, attacking with small, scattered units. They sent about 29 armored vehicles forward in groups of 4 to 5. Previously, this method was only used for foot soldiers. Putin wanted to claim his army was flexible, but in reality, he was playing his last remaining cards. They hoped the morning fog and muddy fields would stop Ukrainian drones, but Ukraine had been holding its breath for this exact moment. Ukrainian forces, especially the National Guard and the 93rd and 33rd Mechanized Brigades, knew what Russia was up to. They had spent months preparing. The improvised minefields and engineering traps had turned the area into a kill tunnel. Ukrainian drones and their artillery were waiting for the Russians to get trapped right in the kill zone. The battle began, and the Russians walked straight into the trap like a flock of sheep. Ukraine didn't just strike, they annihilated. What was the result of 6 hours of continuous fighting? Zero advance. All 29 of those armored vehicles were either exploded, damaged, or fled in disgrace. Russian infantry, who dismounted to hide in the woods, were hunted down like flies by suicide drones. The drone footage is astonishing. You can see the vehicles stuck in the mud while drones circle around them. The sounds of explosions showed the drone hitting and scattering pieces of the tank into the air. And a very painful point for Russia. Most of the vehicles they sent were armored personnel carriers, not main battle tanks. This is Russia's admission that their main tank reserves are depleted. The Russians thought they were being clever again. They had welded anti-drone nets, the infamous cope cages, onto the vehicles. But these were mere toys against Ukraine's drone hunters, who have been operating drones for 3.5 years. Imagine, miles away, a Ukrainian drone operator who has been monitoring this exact spot for months, calmly selecting his targets. He isn't fighting a tank anymore. He's fighting the crew inside it. His FPV drone dives at 100 kilometers per hour, not at the thick frontal armor, but directly at an open driver hatch or the weak gap between the turret and the hull. This isn't war anymore. It's precise, ruthless surgery. These cope cages might stop a drone dropping a grenade from directly above, but they were a bitter joke against Ukraine's new generation of FPV suicide drones. Ukrainian operators have learned to attack from horizontal angles or even from below, targeting armor weaknesses that these cages don't cover at all. In fact, by getting snagged on branches or limiting the crew's visibility, these cages sometimes turn the vehicle into an even deadlier trap. The tactic of small Russian units was a disaster. Each small group lacked the sufficient power to break the defensive lines. Ukraine easily isolated and destroyed them one by one in a series of isolated engagements, just like a child picking individual grapes off a cluster. This attack, despite only having 29 vehicles, was Russia's biggest autumn offensive. Compare this number to the 2024 attack in the same area, where they sent 98 vehicles in 1 week. This shows how much Russia's offensive capability has shrunk. Putin is running his reserves dry. In this attack, the Russians didn't even have air support. Their expensive aircraft were absent. The deadly glide bombs that caused so much destruction last year were missing in this assault. Why? Because Ukraine's air defense in this region has become a firewall. The Kremlin no longer dares to risk its main aircraft.
Why is Putin so fixated on this area? Because the capture of Pokrovsk is a strategic turning point. Let's be clear about what the logistics heart means. The fall of Pokrovsk means cutting off the oxygen to the entire Donetsk front. It means Ukrainian artillery, which fired 5,000 rounds a day, suddenly goes silent. It means tanks ready for a counterattack have no fuel. It means soldiers on the front line receive no rations or ammunition. Putin doesn't want to defeat Ukraine. He wants to choke it. And Pokrovsk is the main artery for Ukraine's breath in the east. Putin needs to fully capture Donetsk to legitimize his government. Any map showing Donetsk not fully in Russian hands is a daily reminder of Putin's failure. If Pokrovsk falls, Putin can come to the negotiating table and say, "Accept this line and we'll agree to a ceasefire." This is his last hope to prevent internal collapse. Russian commanders attacked with the knowledge of defeat. They know that most mechanized units in these attacks will be destroyed or forced to flee. But Putin demands progress, and for them, the fear of Putin is stronger than the fear of the drones. Ukraine knows what it has. The farmlands and open plains of Pokrovsk were made for Ukrainian drones and artillery. These fields turn into swamps in the autumn, making the movement of Russian armor a nightmare. Russia is running out of resources. Manufacturing new T-90M tanks is becoming too costly, and they no longer have old tanks left to upgrade. This isn't just a failure on the battlefield, it's a strategic bankruptcy. Russia has halted the production of the Armata tank because it has no money for expensive toys. Every T-90M tank that went up in smoke in this 6-hour attack was equivalent to the annual budget of a hospital in a small Russian town. Putin isn't just burying his soldiers in the mud of Pokrovsk, he's burying the economic future of his own people. This is that rusting from within we talked about. Every Ukrainian drone is another nail in the coffin of the Kremlin's war economy. And worst of all, the Russian economy is choking. Military budgets have been cut and taxes have gone up. This defeat in Pokrovsk shows that Russia's window for large-scale attacks has closed. If Ukraine can continue to resist and repel these attacks, they won't need to go to the negotiating table. The Russian army will collapse on its own. This is no longer a tank-to-tank battle. This is a battle of artificial intelligence, suicide drones, and Ukraine's pure will against an iron giant that is rusting from within. The future of the war belongs to the one who thinks faster, not the one who fights more expensively.